Oh my God, we reached 4,000 subscribers on this channel. I've been laying in the sun for the last 4 days. Well, not 4 days, 3 days at this lake with my partner's family, and yeah, just reading and laying in the hot sun and getting a little bit of tan. And while I was there, I saw that we reached 4,000 gorgeous souls here on this channel together. I could say like 100 other things, and I've been trying to, and I don't know what to say, and I keep starting over. So I'm just gonna say, I love you. Thank you so much for being here. If you are a supporter of this channel, this is the best corner of the internet that I have ever been privileged enough to exist in. You make the internet fun and supportive and creative and thought-provoking. So I'm so happy. Normally, like I did in the 1K video, if you don't know, this is like a thing that people do, these Q&A videos, every benchmark of like 1,000 people that subscribe. So I have not done one since 1,000. And there I was cheersing champagne to you. However, I drank sort of an obscene amount of wine while I was vacationing. And I also have work tonight. So we're doing a little coffee. Let's get into the questions. I wrote down like 20. I don't know if I'll get to all of them. I'm sorry that I won't mention who asked these questions. Also, all of that information is on my phone, which I'm currently using as a camera. So I wrote them down. Let's start with the question pertaining to coffee. This I know that Renee from So I Read This Book asked me. She said, what is your coffee or tea order? Normally at home, I make espresso in the Bialetti, like Italian macchinetta coffee machine, the one that screws into 2 parts. And that makes espresso. So we drink basically many shots of espresso with a bit of milk. I would say like a rice almond milk or an oat milk sometimes. And I get it to a specific color that I like, which I won't show you now or I'm gonna spill it all over my shit here. I like my coffee pretty strong. Curious about people who unhaul their books. Are you planning to do something similar? If you're not familiar, that means like getting rid of books. I don't normally do that like in a bulk way. I just do it by the way. Like I'll finish a book and then give it to someone or pass it on to a friend that I think will enjoy it. So that would be hard to kind of track and like make into a video. However, we are moving into another apartment at the end of this month, and I will be downsizing my books for sure. So maybe we can do that in a video. First book in your adult life that opened your eyes and made you inspired to read more. So this was really hard, but I'm gonna go with the thing that popped directly into my head, which I guess by intuition is probably the right answer. The Vegetarian by Hong Kong. I read this, there are books like that I would say at the beginning of my booktube, joining booktube, that like really opened my eyes to my reading taste. But I think that that's not really the question. It's like, what's the first book in your adult life that really made you interested in reading? And I think that was a few years prior to starting booktube. It was The Vegetarian by Hong Kong. That book is amazing. I haven't read it since then, so I think it would be a nice reread. Beautiful. It opened up my eyes to like how a narrative story could be told in an unconventional way. Really get into the mind and the inner workings of a character, even though with A Vegetarian, it's actually told through other people's perspectives. But it's very, wow, the writing is gorgeous. Pretty intense book, a lot of imagery. It was just, yeah, it really opened my mind to like how beautiful and impactful a book could be. Another one I'll throw in is like Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. I think that that is a perfect novel. And I'm not normally a sci-fi reader, but I think that that is a perfect novel. And I would like to reread it as well. And that book really got me into reading again. So I would say those two. Favorite meal? I love Asian food. Actually in New York, my mom and my aunt and Ohad, my partner, and I went for this kind of like sushi tasting menu. And it was divine. Like, it was amazing. If I can find the name of the restaurant, I'll put it here. It's a one-of-a-kind experience. You're like with a personal chef, and she was talking about all the different kinds of fish, and it was just like an incredible culinary experience, and it was delicious. So that's like a perfect meal. Any kind of really great Japanese dinner I would love. I love like a nabiyaki udon, like an udon soup in the winter time. Yeah, I think that's my perfect meal. Favorite place in the world? I wrote down two. I think Milos in Greece. I just have the most incredible memories there, and I think it's just the really paradise on the top level, but not paradise that's overly manicured, like a really raw paradise. More like rural, but it's just beautiful. I mean, anywhere in Greece, honestly, I've loved every place I've been to in Greece, probably 5 or 6 times, always to somewhere else, and it never disappoints. So I could say Greece as a whole, actually. And the other one is like Capri in Italy. It's like so glam. You live like your most glam fantasy, and it's gorgeous, and the nature is incredible, and the beaches are amazing. And that is definitely more, that's less off the radar. That's very on the radar, like everybody's there, but it is really special and very, very beautiful. I had a few questions about how I ended up in Tel Aviv. And yeah, so I was born in Nevada. Hi, I'm Ben, I'm 27 years old. I was born in Nevada. I made it to Tel Aviv for work. I came here when I was 18 and did like a half of a year study program in the north of the country, like towards the border with Lebanon. And then I went back to the States for a while, and then I came back 7 years ago to join a dance company that I work at here in Tel Aviv. So yeah, I really came to Tel Aviv because Batsheva Dance Company was like the company I wanted to work for. Ohad Narin was the choreographer I wanted to work with. So it was really for that. Like, if that company had been anywhere else in the world, I would have gone where it was. And it just happened to be in Tel Aviv. So that's really what brought me here. Yeah, that's, I guess, like the short way to put that journey. Someone asked if I can share my queer experience, how I, like when I knew that I was a queer person, what was my journey like with that, how did it go? Strange to explain something that you feel like you always knew. I mean, I always knew that I was queer. I think I always knew I was gay, but I feel like as time went on, and also, you know, we have more conversations about what it's like what are some more options of being, like being non-binary and other kind of queer spectrum identities. So then I feel really queer. I prefer to say, like, instead of just like saying I'm gay, I like to say that I'm queer. Like, I love my queerness, but I always knew. Of course, it developed just as I got older and I developed into myself as an adult or as a young adult. My parents, very supportive. They grew up in, like, working in the theater. So that's a pretty queer environment in general, in like musical theater. So I think that it wasn't the first time that they were, you know, dealing with that. So yeah, in that case, it was very easy and very supportive, and I'm very lucky in that sense. Like, I came from a very supportive household. Fast forward, I'm married. In terms of like queerness and gender identity, I feel like I've always been very fluid, gender fluid, I guess I would label myself as if I needed to. Like sometimes I wake up and feel more like a man. Some days I feel like way more like a woman. But it's not something that I feel so busy with defining for other people, or even, you know, trying to navigate in a more like clear way. Like I enjoy that I feel very fluid in my gender expression, and I go with the flow, and I have come to find that a really powerful way of being. And when I was younger, it was quite difficult. Yeah, I don't know if you have more questions about that. Maybe we can also do a video on it. Pronouns and everything, I sort of feel like you could call me anything. Someone asked, how do I make friends on in the Bookstagram community without posting? Meaning like you don't want to make videos or have a Bookstagram or something necessarily, but you want to make friends. I think it's all in the DMs. Like I feel like DM your friend, the people that you enjoy, that have similar reading taste to you, or that you, I mean, I consider anyone that I'm like commenting with, like on the comment section in my videos, like a virtual friend, and have, yeah, had many a DM conversation with, you know, many people I never met in real life, but I find it very much like a real friendship. Say like, yeah, just write and interact with, you know, people that you enjoy, and also maybe join a book club. Like if there are any even Zoom book clubs with other people in the book community that you like. Like I have many beautiful friends in my lives, but not all of them are readers. So it was really important for me to have this community, a community of friends that I share this interest with. You don't need to be a content creator to be in the community. What book felt like it was written for you and you were meant to read it? I think in my corner of the book sphere, it's a very predictable answer to say Outline by Rachel Cusk, but I really felt like when I read that book, I just was like, this kind of writing is made for me. Like almost every Cusk I've read, like the Outline trilogy and also Second Place, like I just really connect to the way that she tells her stories and her writing. So I really felt like I have to say Outline. Cost of Living by Deborah Levy, I also felt like was such a me book. Not that I'm like going through a divorce or that, because that's really what that book deals with. So it's not written for me in the sense that like I'm in the same position as her in that book. But it was another kind of writing about craft, being an artist, finding your way. You know, I just really, really connected to The Cost of Living. I read that book on a beach in Biarritz in France, and it was just a delight. What painting brought you to tears? I love this question. I think Yenna from Modern Ajumar wrote this question. I have the exact answer for this. So it's a Botticelli painting, which like sounds kind of cliche because his paintings are known to be like so beautiful. But really, I was in Florence. I went to the Uffizi Gallery with my parents, and it was like the Uffizi is huge. So it's like going to the Louvre, and you have a lot of material to go through in that museum. And there's a section where we were entering a room and we turned a corner and it was the Primavera painting by Botticelli. And my father and I were standing near each other and we both just started to cry. This was the only response that we had to looking at it. And I think also I I started crying partially because I saw him cry from this painting, and it was just very, very moving to see. It was just like the utter size. I didn't know that both the Birth of Venus and the Primavera are like quite large paintings. So they were so big and vast, and it was so beautiful. And the colors, how it's been restored or just kept over time, looks like the painting literally glows. And it was just so beautiful that it brought us to tears. So that's really also a lovely memory that I will hold forever. But that's my answer. What inspires your reading choices? How do you find new authors? BookTube, Bookstagram, but more BookTube because I love the act of hearing someone speak about a book. I think I was drawn to start a BookTube before I was really a reader. Like, I think I became a reader because I started watching people speak about books online, and I was so attracted to it that I thought I have to read so that I can also do that. And so that was definitely a huge reason why I started reading more. I love to hear people speak about books they love, speak about books that they don't love. So I get most of my reading, what inspires my reading choices are the lovely people on this platform that I follow and that I'm friends with and whose taste I really align with and enjoy, and also help me kind of expand in reading things that I wouldn't normally read. New authors, a lot of the times also inside books that are citing other books or mentioning other books. So I'll write them down, then I'll find a new author like that, or I'll find a new title like that. Big three, what's my big three? I guess that means zodiac. I'm an Aries sun, I'm a Taurus moon, and I'm a rising Cancer. My partner, Ohad, is also an Aries sun and a rising Cancer, and a different moon, which now I don't remember. Perfect summer day look like. I don't know if I've spoken about this before, but actually I don't really love summer. It's not my favorite season. I mean, I enjoy aspects of summer, absolutely. And also it's mostly the only time from the year that I have off from working. So I enjoy just to simply not work and have, you know, a vacation. My perfect summer looks like laying on the beach in Greece with a book or listening to music, laying in the sun, swimming in Greek water, and having a Greek salad. That's what my perfect summer looks like. What are some of my favorite artists, like painters, sculptors, photographers, etc.? This is a really hard question. I'm almost like, don't want to answer it because it's that moment where like you can't think of anyone. Wow. I'm overwhelmed. I'll make a video about it in the future. I don't know. I just recently saw an exhibition of Wangechi Mutu in Brooklyn at the Brooklyn Museum. And I absolutely fell in love with her work, like incredible. And I was, yeah, it was such a visceral experience. Especially her collage work and her paintings. I'd say she is definitely like a new artist to me that I really, really love. So let's just go with that. Someone said, please review A Little Life. No, mama. If you want to know a book that that I really have no interest in reading, I can't say never because there is something also kind of intriguing about reading the book that you say you would never read. But really nothing interests me in reading A Little Life. I'm just not interested in that kind of queer trauma, that much of it. No, thank you. I don't care if the writing is good or not. It's a bit much. And it's long. I like short books. That's just too long. Near or distant plans regarding my dance career? Actually, on the 5th of August, I'm leaving my job in a full-time dance company to become a freelancer. So yeah, the plans are pretty vague and open. I do wish to make my own work. I've always liked being in, like having it, whenever I have a chance to choreograph something or to just direct a performance. I really enjoy that, and I get a lot of yeah, joy from doing that and inspiration from doing that. So I would like to do that more. And also I would like to maybe shift a little more into cinema after having like some acting experience this past year. It really opened up my desire for that. So yeah, maybe to also give that a little more space, or kind of try to go in that direction a little bit. Logistically, I will probably teach a lot for an income. It's another way of like traveling, and I'm really lucky to have that resource. So I will teach probably quite a lot. Thinking about acting, I think this is the last, is it one of the last questions? Yeah. What do you daydream about? I really daydream about like reading a script, like reading a really amazing script that I like would love to be a part of. Like I really daydream about that. I really daydream about like getting to read material. It's kind of like a, yeah, I dream about like, you know, that life of like sitting on your lawn by the pool with a script in your hand, as cringy as that sounds. I definitely daydream about that. The last question, as an artist, what influences has reading had on your art? I think it's really important, the cross-pollination of different art forms and different angles. Just because you're a performing artist doesn't mean you can't be inspired by cinema, doesn't mean you can't get something from pottery, or, you know, different kinds of different forms. For me, there's something about dance as a form which doesn't have to do with words. And reading is about, you know, reading and writing is about words. And sometimes trying to put things into words that are not describable. And I like that in books, when like the words give a feeling, like a sensation that you almost can't name, although you try to name it in the act of writing. And I like that, like the hug between those things, that and like working with the body, for example. You know, we'll read a poem, it will make me think of a stage piece, or like something that I want to use a text for, maybe like in a more concrete way, like I would like to use this text on stage or on film or something, or in a more abstract way, like I would like to use some images from a book or a feeling or a mood as like a jumping off point for some kind of art creation, whatever the right medium it is right for it to be. That's a very convoluted sentence, sorry. Jacob, Bochamud. Jacob Shilly. Sorry, sometimes when he goes next to the door, I can't tell if he needs to pee or if he's just sniffing around. I have to go walk the dog. I think that he's telling me he needs to pee. Thank you for watching. This says that I've been recording for 33 minutes, so thank you for sticking around if you made it this far. Very, very, very grateful for you being here. Let's continue on this lovely road together. Cheers. Emergency. Bye.